Certainly, when Arthur Grier and his brother and family came along and invested and brought enlarged Greertown area with the new in the late 40s, early 50s with Arthur Grier purchased land and sold GI loan through GI loan lots of veterans, which was unique in itself because as you probably know, that process of veteran loans wasn't equitable at that time, and it was very courageous. Certainly with Arthur Grier's connections, he was able to do a cooperative kind of investment and purchase land and buy homes for lots of Greertown folks that lived in the upper end of Greertown and ended up moving down on Jean Avenue and Fanny Circle when that was developed. So certainly the Grier family was very instrumental in leadership.
Mr. Arthur Grier was the owner of Grier's Funeral Home in Brooklyn at that particular time, on the corner of 1st Street, right across from Second Ward High School. My father knew Mr. Arthur, and he would help him out at the funeral home. And Mr. Arthur gave him a chance to get one of the houses when he first built it. Like I said, we were the first one to get a house on the corner of Fanny Circle and Jean Avenue. And Mr. Arthur Grier built those houses especially for veterans. And we moved out here, I was three or four. And not only was I a part of Greertown, I was still a part of Brooklyn too, because my grandmother stayed in Brooklyn. And it was a great opportunity for veterans, what Mr. Arthur did in this community. Because I think it ended up, he built about maybe about 25 or 30 houses for veterans, and all veterans, they did get them. It was a great experience, just for that to happen. You didn't realize anything like that was happening during that time.
And so when Mr. Arthur moved up from Providence, he had a store across the street over there on the other side. You remember the Founders Hall? Right there, Lord, it's called 5th Street. Right, as you go up, you make the left to go to Mercy Hospital. Well, the city limits didn't stop up there. This was called rural. And he built that store over there across the street, his store, real store I talked about. And then later on, he acquired land over on the opposite side of the Monroe Road. And that's when it became the Grier store. And Mr. Arthur had a gas station, Texaco gas down there. That's why I told you you need to take a photo. The store there and the garage was next door, and he sold gas.
I knew a little bit about Arthur Grier because he owns a funeral home here in Grier Heights, and his grandson and my dad were good friends. And so I remember everybody had their funeral at Grier Funeral Home on Statesville. So I knew that part, and, just some of the businesses that he owned, a grocery store, which was on Monroe Road, a greenhouse. I learned that Mr. Grier was also not only a businessman, but really started building homes here in Grier Heights for the veterans that were returning from World War II and built over 100 homes. And that's really impressive to me. That someone during those times would think about their peers and think about families and know that they need a place to stay and, not depend on someone else to do it, but to say, hey, I'm going to do this for my people. And, to this day, these homes are still standing and still providing homes for Black families as well as others.